the Bud Light Suite.
Sweet. I 167 KPI live from the Bud Light. Sweet. Get down. All right, so here's the deal. A lot of people are celebrating St. Patrick's Day. So far, I think, Scoop, how many times? 5 maybe we've seen DUI. Like, they're going to be out. Don't drink and drive.
At least 5.
I mean, it's been nuts all morning, so imagine if you're out this weekend, if you're going down to amateur hour tomorrow, you better watch out. They're just sniffing, looking, scratching for a reason to pull you over, and they don't really need much. So we figured it might be a good time to bring our friends at DUI Defense Matters in and sort of get you a little educated on the what, and the who's, and the hows, and the whens, and the what you should do if you come across a DUI checkpoint, and so forth. And, man, at this point in the game, it's just not worth it to drive. But they have to do this advertising, this push to let people know that campaign, that DUI, the drunk driving campaign, is on this weekend, correct?
Yeah, that's right, Willie. They do. They have to advertise them.
And so do they have to advertise if you're driving down the road? Do they have to put up a sign on the road that says DUI checkpoint ahead?
No, but normally you're going to see lights. You're going to see some sort of indication that something's going on. They'll use a lot of the construction barrels to try to kind of funnel you over into a lane. But even with the advertisements, they're not going to tell you specifically where they're at for obvious reasons. I will tell you one trick that I've seen people using.
You've seen her too? Wait. Oh.
If you use you can use your Google Maps and kind of look at your way that you're going to go home.
Uh-huh.
And one indication that there may be a checkpoint in between there and your house is the red. How
yeah,
it breaks up when it's red.
Right. Sweet Cheeks does the same thing when she's backed up.
Yeah.
It's hey, look, she's just in there, not even being able to defend herself because she's too busy talking. All right, so it's one of those things where DUI checkpoints, and they know that people out on the road, people out on the streets, probably have been at a St. Patrick's Day festivity. And I don't know about, it being St. Patrick's Day. I don't need an excuse to drink whiskey, but for some reason people get whiskey brave on St. Patrick's Day weekend and like to throw down. So if you're out on the road and you give them any reason to pull you over, tail lights, not using your blinker, crossing the double line, man, you got to expect that's coming at you this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're looking for any legal reason they can to pull you over, and it's just that easy. You got to tag a light out. You don't use your blinker. You got a crack in your windshield.
Oh, those ones suck too. The plate light that's out.
Yep.
Oh, suck it. You guys suck. But yeah, any reason to pull you over, pop you with a DUI. And I will tell you, you guys have been able to do a lot of things for the BPI family members. I've got, numerous friends that I've sent you to. My boy. And you guys have helped him out tremendously. You know who I'm talking about. Man, what a case. So here's the deal. If you guys find yourself in a situation where you have a checkpoint or a DUI stop, if you will, there's some sort of rules you should know, some things you should do. We'll tell you about those coming up in just a second. And remember, like the girl that called in, man, she left a place, a barbecue, and just had a couple drinks. You can't really go by how you feel. So use that, as sort of just your litmus test before you get behind the wheel. We'll talk more about it in just a second. 9:10's BPI.
Take 1, 2, 3.
BPI. Come on. Live BPI from the Bud Light Suite.
Sweet. I 167 KPI live from the Bud Light Suite. Hey, suckers, pull it up. All right. Hey, we have tickets to Cold Chamber in the Bud Light Suite as well. It's funny when I give away tickets to Cold Chamber because I can't help but to be reminded about my girlfriend one time who I got tickets to Pantera and Cold Chamber at Red Rocks, and I had to work doing something, and she decided that the grass was greener. She hopped on the tour bus and ended up in Texas with Cold Chamber. I hate when that happens. Damn. I got my girl tickets today to a show. I hope she doesn't leave on a tour bus. Damn it. Quality. That's what I look for. All right, so we have DUI Defense Matters in here. And I would recommend these guys for anything DUI related, and not just in the form of alcohol, because we got to talk marijuana too, because they're out there sniffing around for that. Their phone number is 720-542-6148. I've got a number of friends Hell, there's people under my roof right now that are using these guys because I was like, all right, man, let me get you their number. They'll take good care of you. I know for a fact you guys really helped out the last buddy I sent to you, so thank you very much on that as well. It's DUIDefenseMatters.com. We're talking road sobriety tests. We're talking checkpoints. They're going to be out in force this weekend. There's been promos all morning. It is higher this year, more checkpoints than it's ever been before. And, you know, it's funny, one of the guys we got in here, what do you want to be called today? Give me a nickname. Puffy. Puffy was actually, he got pulled over for a DUI with the strangest sort of scenario. It was like, what time was it, Puffy? Midnight? After midnight? A little after midnight, he was hungry. Goes to a fast food restaurant. Apparently, the cops wait at fast food restaurants for moves like Puffy did. Puffy pulled into the fast food restaurant and barely clipped Puffy's little rear tire on the curb. That was enough for the policeman to pull over the Puffy man. And once you found out, he rose up to the window, asked if he'd been drinking, to which you said, a little. And that's when the idiot light went off on the dash. No, you can't. All right, tell us what's wrong with that.
Yeah, one of the things that the police are looking for is an admission. That's one of the things they use as evidence against you going forward in the case. So
whoops.
They're going to ask you if you've been drinking. You say yes. That's going to come back to haunt you big time.
All right, see, right out of the gate, you didn't pull the man card, which is lie.
Deny.
Yeah, hell no, drink. I haven't had not even water. I'm like the Sahara up here. Barely swallow. I can't hear a word you're saying, but come on. So, all right, that's rule number one. Don't admit regardless. Be like,
you can just choose not to answer. You know, say, hey, I'm not going to answer any questions. And then,
yeah, you have a right just to say, I don't have to answer that.
Yep, you don't have to answer their questions.
But isn't that kind of saying you're guilty? Like if my girlfriend was sitting across the table and I'm like, so, hey, you been doing me wrong, doing me dirty? She's like, I don't have to answer that. I'm like, that bitch is guilty as hell. So
it definitely can go that way, but then you definitely don't have the admission on there. So later on, you can use that
right
to your advantage. Just say, hey, I never admitted.
She could just do the woman thing. She's like a cat. You can't catch them at it.
That's true. Women are way better at that.
Yeah. Yes. No, I haven't been drinking, but this blouse is heavy on me tonight. All right, so don't do anything that admits guilt. Yes. What is step number 2 if you get approached by a policeman?
So the next thing they're going to do is ask you to step out of the car, and they're going to ask you to do some roadside tests. Those are completely voluntary. That's the important thing to know. You don't have to do those. There's nothing that says you have to do the roadside test.
Right.
So we generally recommend people refuse those. And the reason is the cops are going to find something. Just like Puffy's tire that clipped the curb here, they're looking for any little thing they can find. So
nice move, Puff. Nice move.
If you stumble on a piece of gravel, you slip, you stop. You can't keep your balance. I can't keep my balance for anything. So, I probably couldn't pass the one-legged stand right now.
Hashtag white guy syndrome.
That's right.
Dang. Yeah. All right. So they're just basically looking for anything to pull you over. So, for example, if he comes up to the car and he says something like, do you know why I pulled you over? I tend to want to answer that with, well, hell, if you don't know why you pulled me over, how the hell am I going to know?
Yeah.
But at that point, it's probably not wise in that decision.
You definitely don't want to say, depends on how long you've been following me.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I was on my way to your wife's house. What's the problem?
I had a case one time, and they asked her, how much have you been drinking? And she replied saying, I'm not drunk enough for this, and laughed. You're admitting guilt, and then she said, I'm not drunk enough to do these tests.
Yes.
And giggled.
Right.
Don't
well,
do that.
Look, you guys' names is DUI Defense Matters. You got to think a person that would answer a question like that is going to call you guys. I might be guilty here. It's like the commercial where they roll down their window and there's fish in the car.
Start spilling out.
Yeah. All right. So don't admit guilt. Don't tell them or reference anything you've been doing. And basically, when they ask you to step out of the car and say do a roadside, you could politely say, I decline,
no,
but
you.
What are the consequences for saying that?
Well, so the field sobriety tests, those are voluntary. And so there's not a consequence for doing that. They're going to say that you didn't do them, but particularly if you're going to decline it, that's the time to say, hey, listen, I've got a bum knee, I've got a bad back, something like that tells them why, okay, listen, this person's got some sort of a disability that may give off the indication that they're impaired when they're really not.
Right, and you don't want to say things like, I'm too hammered to do that.
That's right. Yeah,
that goes back to the admission part.
Yeah.
Right.
So telling them or declining to do the field sobriety test, that's different than the blood test or the breath test, right? Because that's the one where you've got consequences to your driver's license if you refuse to do it.
Okay, so you tell them you politely decline due to, a knee. I do have a knee injury, back, a couple other things. So you say, no, look, man, I politely decline on that. I don't need to do that. Unfortunately, because I've done those before, and unbeknownst to the police officer that administered, and 3 of them did this, I had not had a single drink, and 2 officers failed me. Not had a single drink, and they had to guess whether or not we would have a drink or be past the test. And they failed me. Not one single drink, man. So you're right. It's left up to their sort of indiscretion, what they feel, and how they judge you performing on the test. So, yeah, ixnay that. Now what's going to happen?
So after they've asked you to get out, if you decline to take the test, they're going to hook you up. They're going to take you down, go get the test, right? Mm-hmm. So they're going to go in. They're going to ask you if you want to do a breath test or a blood test. And so that's when you're going to have a decision to make.
What do you poured him a shot of whiskey in the backgammon board and said, you want to sit down for a while and talk about it? No, probably not going to work out well either. What about marijuana? Because that seems to be, I saw a stat, was it a scoop? Was it Wednesday? It came out with more people on the road are driving high than they are driving drunk.
Yeah, I think it just surpassed that. So what if scenario is going to be the sort of regimen or the rollout of, say, you get pulled over this weekend. It's St. Patty's Day. There's a different way to celebrate the green by consuming, 85 ounces of green beer. So how would they, what are the steps that they would sort of put you through to try to determine if you've been smoking?
It's going to be mostly the same process. They're going to be looking for different factors.
Uh-huh.
So, for the alcohol, they're going to be looking for smell of alcohol, watery eyes, slurred speech, that kind of thing. With marijuana, they're looking for the other signs that you consume marijuana, the bloodshot eyes, the, fidgety, any kind of nervousness. They're going to be looking for that and pawn that off on the fact that you're intoxicated on marijuana.
Scoop had an entire basket of Twinkies. If he was tooling around town in his Caliber and 50 Twinkies in the passenger seat, they would probably look at him like he might have been smoking, right?
They might.
That's like in Puffy's case.
Yes.
Over here, they're going to hang out at Taco Bell
right.
and Burger King and wait for you to
Do they hang out at fast food restaurants?
Yeah, you're hungry.
Yeah.
Man. So if you're hungry, grab a Cliff Bar or something and keep it in your car, yeah. Don't be stopping at a
Domino's.
Yeah, fast food restaurant. All right, interesting, man. I wouldn't have thought they would have done that. Okay, we'll take a quick break, and maybe you can tell us some of the other things that they're looking for, because I'm thinking pot will be a bigger issue quicker than what alcohol ever was for us. Are they going to have a test for it? All interesting things. We'll find out in a second. 9:31.
Live BPI from the Bud Light Suite.
All right, 167 KBPI. My headphones went out. Quick. All right, it's your show, BPI Mornings. I'm like, those headphones still working? Yeah. So here's the deal, man. We have DUI Defense Matters. They've helped us out a bunch. Got a few of my friends actually using these guys right now, and they've been able to tremendously help them out. But we wanted to shift gears a little bit. There's a ton of DUI checkpoints out, and this is the weekend you get pulled over. We were just talking to Puffy. That's his mom gave him that name. And Puffy had his rear tire, his truck tire, barely clipped the curb. That was enough for the officer to pull him over. Next thing you know, a .09, and he's got a DUI. Sucks. Bad news. But nowadays with marijuana, it's sort of a different scenario, albeit they look for similar things, and they can pretty much hit you with that intoxicated or under the influence label. With, was it 5 nanograms?
Yeah, that's right. So right now, the law in Colorado is that you can have 5 nanograms of the active metabolite of THC in your system, and at that point, they're going to decide whether or not they're going to prosecute you. So it's a little different than it is with alcohol.
Okay, but marijuana is fat soluble, whereas alcohol is water soluble. How it gets in, out of, and basically how active your system is with it is going to determine a lot on that level. So if you're let's say residential, we have a marijuana Sherpa amongst us, if you will, and that would be Sweet Cheeks.
I like that title.
Yeah, well, there you go. I'll tell you this. If she were to get tested at any given time, regardless of whether or not she'd smoked within the last previous 2 hours, 5 hours, or whatever, I imagine her levels would somewhere be in the 20s range.
Yeah. Right. Well, and that's one of the problems, right? We do have people now that it's recreational.
Hold on.
A lot of people.
Weekends 30. So, explain that a little bit.
Yeah. So we are going to see that now. We've got people that are doing it now that it's legal recreationally. Plus the people who do it medicinally, right? They're using it a lot, and so that creates a problem because we do have people who they're going to have a buildup of it. Not only in their system, but also they handle it differently, right? They're going to build up a certain tolerance to it, and so somebody who smokes every day, multiple times a day they're going to handle it a lot differently than somebody who's just the occasional marijuana user.
Sweet Cheeks, how often would you say you would or feel impaired when you're driving? And the answer better be like zook.
0.
Good answer. That's
good answer. Very proud of you.
Yes.
But at any given time, you would be over this limit. So when they get pulled over, what exactly are the police looking for, or what would be her test? You'd have to go down and do a blood test, right?
Right. Yeah, they're going to do a blood test, and so when they pull you over, they're looking for red eyes.
Check.
Yep, red eyes. Right. Smell of marijuana is a big one, and frankly, for females that can be a problem, right? Because your hair is longer, the smell can get caught in your hair, right? It can stick around. So things like that they're gonna cause a problem. And so if they have reason to believe that you smoke, or if you admit to smoking, they're gonna take you down and they're gonna test you.
Yeah,
and that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, she'd be like, "I'm high as a mother." All right, so. What are some of those tests, and how do you beat something like that in court? Because nowadays, with the fact that people can go get it, it is legal in the state. They do, smoke it on occasion. Yet they go to work, the next day, and who knows if they get positive? You take the blood test. Who's to say they won't be over 5 nanograms? How do you fight something like that in a court of law?
Well, so the 5 nanograms, that's a little different than it is for alcohol. So for alcohol, everybody knows, right? 0.08. It doesn't matter if you can drive your car safely or not. You're just guilty. That's called a per se law. You're just guilty. The 5 nanograms that we have here in Colorado is a permissive inference. And so what that does is it lets the DA say to a jury, they're over 5 nanograms, you can presume that they're impaired. The way we fight that back is we can have experts come in, if necessary, to come in and say, listen, this person smokes all the time. This is why they're over the limit. It's perfectly possible they're not.
She wears hemp T-shirts, eats it, smokes it. I think she's got hemp toilet paper.
Yeah. So
she's got a little wheatgrass hemp shake in the morning.
Any way I can consume it.
Right. It's green.
Can't get enough of it.
Right. St. Patrick's Day.
It lets us fight back. That's the thing. You can fight back. And whereas with alcohol, if you're over 0.08, it's very difficult to fight those.
Man, I can imagine. I hopefully they'll have a test because it's all about how you're driving. Was the driving impaired in some form? Was it, were you doing things that were of careless nature?
Right.
Or ain't nobody on earth ever been stoned speeding? No.
You might be going too slow.
Right.
You're cruising.
Yeah, this is no joke. My Uncle Jimmy one time got pulled over coming from Florida. He took us on vacation. Dude's rolling down or up I-75 doing like 45 miles an hour, gets pulled over. I'm just a little kid in the back of the car playing, battleship with my brother. And his officer comes to the window and he rolls down the window and goes, "Was I speeding, sir?" And the cops are like, "No, you're causing a traffic jam because you're going so slow. Speed it up." Literally cracking 48 miles an hour. It is one of those things where, I look at that now, but you could definitely tell on the road because, hey, I see it sometimes. I see people driving around. The worst thing is the cell phone. I don't care if people are, to me anyway, the worst thing or most debilitating thing on the road out there are people texting. And man, I saw a semi rolling down 470 the other day. Dude's weaving like he's a garden snake trying to get to a hole. It was like, I had to go by, and this semi with a trailer loaded up, just swerving, trying to send a text. I'm like, damn.
How were you able to see that high?
Well, you can just look up. You can see it. He's got it's right there in his hand.
Oh.
It's crazy because they do it. They do it constantly, and you see it all the time. When that's more of a factor of careless driving than per se, at least in my opinion, marijuana could be. I mean, what are you going to drive really slow?
There are studies that support that, actually, that say that if you're texting and driving, and I think the last thing I saw was 5 times more likely. It is, in fact, you're dead on right about that. You're more dangerous when you're texting than if you're intoxicated.
Right. So do as I say, not as I do. Don't be texting and driving. Trying to kill a fool. What are you looking at?
I would text and drive.
All right, 9:42. We got to take a quick break, guys. Their website is DUIDefenseMatters.com. They've helped a lot of friends. They've helped a lot of our BPI family members. They do the friends and family of BPI, which is kind of cool, man. We got a call about that the other day. Guy was super stoked. He got a reference off of it. Was all calling us all happy and ecstatic. So thank you guys for putting that up there, man. That's cool. Back in just a minute. Quick break. 9:42 on your Fridays, BPI.
Live BPI from the Bud Light Suite.
All right, gang. 167 KPI live from the Bud Light Suite. Hey, Jake, man. Has Jake from State Farm ruined you?
Yes, it has, actually.
Yeah, Scoop, what was the commercial we had earlier today? There was a bunch of
It was a PSA. It was we're sorry for all the Jakes out there because your name has officially been ruined, and everybody was very sad.
I just want to tell you, man, I've been in talking to you for about 40, 50 minutes now, and you sound awful or hideous. Whatever it is.
Hideous,
You sound hideous. Well, he's a she, so... Oh, they made a PC version now. It's different. It's not he's a she. It's something else now. But anyway, Jake from State Farm. At 3 in the morning.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Yeah. Khakis. Anyway, man, so real fast, I had a buddy hit me up, and he was talking about a CDL, how it differs. And this is something I didn't know. How bad do you have it if you have a CDL and you get a DUI? Check this out. The first time you get a DUI, they'll pull your CDL for a year. Now, you could, for example, you get a CDL when you're 25 years old. You could drive, be established in that sort of field, make a career, earn your living out of it, build your house from it, get your toys from it, work your butt off 15 years later. When you're 40 years old, you are leaving a barbecue. Boom. You blow a .09. You lose your CDL for life?
On the first one,
on the second one,
yeah, on the first one, it's a year suspension. They'll take it for a year, and that's whether you're driving your company truck or your personal vehicle. So you could be out with your friends in your personal car. You get hit with a DUI, you lose your CDL for 1 year.
Yeah.
And then the second offense, you lose it for life. You're not allowed to have that CDL anymore or drive a commercial truck anymore.
That is crazy. That's nuts.
Tough.
I mean, I understand it if you're mowing through a subdivision or, whatever, if you cause an accident or somebody bodily harm and da-da-da, but to blow a .09 when you're 25 and to do it again when you're 45 and you lose your career that you base your entire livelihood on, that's disgusting, man, that they could do that. It's nuts.
A strict law. It's a strict law. It makes it definitely not worth it. If you got that CDL, do not drink and drive.
Man, dude, that is...
Like you said, it doesn't matter if you're in your personal car. It's not the same as, a couple months ago there was that RTD bus driver. Remember, he got in a wreck and he was drunk?
Yes.
See, it didn't matter if you're in that thing or in your personal car. Yeah.
Well, look, guys, and another thing I wanted to talk about real fast. I'm going to a driving course tomorrow. So, look, for those of you that may be out there speeding, driving courses all day throughout your Saturday afternoon when it's nice outside is no fun either. I don't have to do a PSA or anything like that. I'm not being forced to say it, so just watch out for the po-po. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. And again, DUIDefenseMatters.com. They've thrown a lot of help to us amongst our friends, people in the BPI family, and on that friends and family list. So thanks again, man. I know for a fact you guys have done some big things for other people. Last bit of advice, since there's going to be so much pressure out there. Because, if you're a police officer, don't take it the wrong way, man. I love you guys. Respect the hell out of you. I think you guys are, what you do is upholds, a lot of respect, man. And I appreciate what you guys do for our community. It just sucks when you guys are behind us. I still get a little nervous every time I hear a siren because I live my life right on that edge of, are they coming after me? There's days I could ask myself that. So, I appreciate what you guys do. But at the same time, this weekend, you guys are out hunting. You guys who are police officers are looking for any reason whatsoever to pull us over. Guys, don't let it happen. Play the game. Make sure all your brake lights, your blinkers, your license plate lights. If you got a designated driver, if you got somebody make sure you should have somebody Uber it, taxi it, whatever. But man, just to avoid any sort of contact is be the best advice possible, and you do that by dotting all your I's, crossing all your T's, making sure your vehicle is up to par so you don't have a reason. Don't cross double yellow lines. Don't hit curbs like Puffy over here did. Don't give them a reason, and you'll find it's the best results. Guys, thanks a ton for you guys coming in.
Thanks, Will. Be safe out there.
Yeah, it's DUIDefenseMatters.com. Their phone number, 720-542-6148. Especially with the marijuana stuff and all the crazy rules that go on with it and how fast it's changing. If you guys have an issue like that, call these dudes, man. Chantel, Jeff, Jake, they'll take fantastic care of you. All right, that's a wrap. We got, let's see. Coming up, we got Metal Shop on Monday. I'm stoked about that. Sweet Cheeks, we start giving away keys to the 68 Camaro RS. Booyah!
I'm so excited for that car, just not counting to 106.
I know. So about 51 days before we give that away. So we're going to have keys starting Monday. We'll have them in Willie B's Garage. Tomorrow, Willie B's Garage is going to have Sporty Bandamere. Sean Kennedy, Steve Hayes will be up talking shop and all the things and cool stuff going on at Bandamere where you should take the street racing too. And then, let's see. Tickets today, we got them through Hollywood Undead. We have one pair left. We'll take caller number 10 and get you hooked up. 713-ROCK, 713-ROW, or 631-2-WIN. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Again, if you're out celebrating St. Patrick's Day, be extra careful when it comes to the cops. Don't drink and drive. If you guys need help, DUIDefenseMatters.com. Thanks again, guys. That's a wrap. Happy Friday, everybody. Peace. BPI.